Everyone. In this part of the video, let's discuss about exogenetic forces. Okay, what are the exogenetic factors which are responsible for landform formation and its evolution? So, first part comes with exogenetic forces is weathering. What is weathering? The mechanical disintegration and chemical decomposition by various factors present on the Earth's surface. If you consider a rock, the mechanical disintegration is the division of a rock into two parts. Okay, this is mechanical disintegration or physical disintegration. This, if you consider this rock will be having various chemicals. When this rock meets a suitable solvent, when such as limestone meets carbonic acid, then this will be decomposed. It will be diluted, or it will be formed solution, okay, of calcium hydroxide. Okay, this is called chemical weathering. Hence, mechanical disintegration and chemical decomposition of rocks by various factors. Factors such as it may be temperature, rain, plus carbon dioxide, that is carbonic acid, such as these are the factors, and provided one condition, that these weathered debris should not be moved for larger extent. Suppose if a rock is weathered and it disintegrates and falls here, it should not be moved to a larger extent because it will become erosion. So weathering is not erosion. So there should not be any transportation except under gravity. It can fall under the gravity, but it can't be carried away. Hence, this is called as weathering. There are various types of weathering: mechanical weathering, chemical weathering, and biotic weathering. Let's discuss each one by one. Okay, what is mechanical weathering? Mechanical weathering is physical disintegration or mechanical disintegration. Suppose if a rock is there, mechanically if it disintegrates into two blocks, okay, without any chemical changes, then it is called as mechanical weathering. There are various types of mechanical weathering. What are those? Block disintegration of rocks by temperature. Okay, this is block disintegration. This is block disintegration. Okay, what is block disintegration of the rocks by temperature? Consider this is a rock, okay, and during daytime sun, it will experience heat. It absorbs the heat from the sun. Okay, as it absorbs the heat, it will undergo expansion. Okay, as it undergoes expansion during night, it undergoes cooling and it comes back to its original position. Okay, this expansion and contraction will lead to development of crack or fractures. Okay, like this. Over a period of time, these fractures will be completed and this rock will be disintegrated into two blocks. Okay, hence block disintegration by diurnal temperature changes. By daytime it expands, nighttime it contracts, develop cracks, and it disintegrates. Okay, this is called as block disintegration by temperature. Block, one block, second block. Okay, now the second type of weathering is granular disintegration of rock by temperature. Okay, what is granular disintegration? Since we know, if we consider this as rock, this rock will be having various minerals. Suppose here it is calcium carbonate, here it is feldspar, here it's quartz. So a rock contains various minerals. So during daytime, these minerals absorbs heat. Okay, these minerals present in the rock absorb heat, and each mineral will expand to different proportion. If this mineral expand to this mineral expands to this much, this mineral expands to this much, so there will be various expansion. Okay, this various expansion or irregular expansion will lead to development of cracks in the rocks, which over a period of time will disintegrate, okay, into smaller grains. Hence, as shown in this diagram, small grains will be disintegrated and it falls down, and hence granular disintegration. Okay, now let's come to block disintegration of rocks by freezing and thawing. Here the rocks will be having cracks due to diurnal temperature or due to some other factors. Here in the subtropical regions or cold polar regions or mid-latitudinal regions, in cold areas, the water will be trapped in these cracks. Okay, water gets trapped in these cracks. In night time, this water freezes and it becomes ice. During daytime, this water will this ice will thaw and it become water. Hence, there is an increase in volume. Due to this, these cracks expand. Okay, these cracks expand, which over a period of time gets disintegrated into two blocks, and hence block disintegration by freezing and thawing. It happens in mid-latitudinal or polar or subpolar regions. Okay. Now let's discuss about next type of weathering, that is exfoliation. What is exfoliation? Suppose if you see a rock, the rock will be having concentric shells. Okay, as shown here. As shown here, the rock will be having concentric shells. Due to temperature, the cracks will be due to diurnal temperature change. As we previously discussed, due to expansion in the day and contraction in the night, these cracks will be developed, okay, along the concentric shells. When these cracks are blown away by the wind blows, right? These cracks will expand and it will fall down. As shown here, these were the previously cracks. Here the rocks were there, which fell down by the influence of wind. This type of disintegration is called as exfoliation, where concentric shells of rocks develop cracks by temperature due to diurnal temperature changes, which disintegration by the method of wind, by wind mechanism. Wind will disintegrate these concentric shells. Next is disintegration of rock by removing superincumbent pressure. What is this? Suppose if a rock is like this, as we all know, this layer of the rock will have higher pressure when compared to this layer. So due to higher pressure, it will be contracted. When due to the denudation or exfoliation or granular disintegration, when this part of rock is removed, okay, when this part of rock is removed and it becomes like this. So this layer of the rock will be like here, right? So due to removal of superincumbent pressure, this layer of the rock expands. It expands, okay, due to removal of pressure. Okay, when the denudation removes the top layer of the rock, the below layer will expand due to removal of superincumbent pressure. This expands, which leads to development of cracks, okay, which over a period of time disintegrates. Okay, this is called as disintegration by removing superincumbent pressure. Understood? The rock, when denudation will remove the above layer, the below layer will expand when it is exposed to the atmosphere due to decrease in pressure. This expansion will generate cracks, which further leads to disintegration. This is called as disintegration of rock by removing superincumbent pressure. Okay, what are the 5 types of weathering? Block disintegration by temperature, granular disintegration by temperature, block disintegration by freezing and thawing, exfoliation of the rock by temperature and wind, disintegration of rock by removing superincumbent pressure. These are the 5 types of mechanical weathering. Now let's come to chemical weathering. What is chemical weathering? Suppose if you consider limestone, which is composed of calcium carbonate. As shown here, it is a limestone bed. When these meets with suitable solvent, that is carbonic acid, water can't be. When carbon dioxide mixed with water forms carbonic acid, reacts with limestone, it forms calcium hydroxide, which is in thin paste. Okay, plus carbon dioxide is released plus water is formed. Okay, this is chemical decomposition. Okay, here the processes are carbonation. When carbonate rocks meets carbonic acid, it decomposes. Here the process can also be called solution. Where the rock meets a suitable solvent, it undergoes disintegration. These two are called chemical weathering. Okay, now let's come to oxidation. What is oxidation? Suppose if a rock contains metals, These metallic minerals, when react with oxygen, it can't react with oxygen directly, so it should react with the water, water which has high amount of oxygen percent. When it reacts with oxygen, it undergo oxidation. We all know oxidation is an exothermic reaction. That means it releases heat. As it releases heat, cracks are developed here. Cracks are developed, it undergo disintegration. This is called as, and metals are formed, converted into metal oxides, which releases energy, that is exothermic, which releases heat, which will lead to disintegration of rock. Hydrolysis is when these metals or certain other chemical minerals which reacts with water. It is also exothermic. It releases heat. It leads to disintegration of rocks. This is called as chemical weathering. Why chemical weathering? Because there is a chemical change in the composition, chemical structure, and hence chemical weathering. This is limestone bed, and various here the patterns are formed due to weathering when carbonic acid reacts. Okay, now let's discuss the third type of weathering, the biotic weathering. There are three types of biotic weathering. Biotic means the one living things, how it influence. Like floral weathering. Floral is animal, such as we all know, mongoose or rabbits live inside the holes on the earth's surface. So they burrow tunnels inside the earth. So this will help in the disintegration of rocks. Disintegration of rocks. Okay, so animals also helps in the disintegration, that is weathering. Small organisms, suppose earthworms. When smaller aspect is considered, earthworms will move the fresh soil towards the top, exposing it to atmosphere. This will also be its contribution towards weathering. Faunal weathering is when the rocks are have certain cracks. Here it's a tree. Okay, if the roots of this tree penetrate this crack, as the roots expand, the cracks also expand, and finally it leads to disintegration. This is called faunal weathering. Anthropogenic weathering is nothing but human influences, like such as mining, constructions. Okay, mining will means such as stone mining. Also, you can take constructions, building lake, building buildings. Okay, these are the various activities which weather the rock. Okay, and it is very hazardous. We all know, which we'll discuss in the future chapter about its significance. Okay, now let's discuss about significance of weathering. Why weathering is important, why it is needed. As we all know, weathering, where a rock disintegrates into smaller rocks, which disintegrates into soil. Okay, this soil, which is also called as regolith, is important for vegetation, where trees grow, forests grow on these soils, and hence the weathering process is important in vegetation, farming. You can take that. Weathering is important in reduction of landform, evolution of a landform. Suppose if a landform is like this, suppose a hill is, so over a period of time, due to weathering and erosion, the landform will be reduced to smaller landform, which will be reduced to further smaller, which will be further reduced into a plain. Okay, weathering is important for evolution of a landform, reduction of a landform. Okay, weathering is helps erosion because the weathered debris will be carried by the erosional agents such as river, winds. Small debris will be carried by the winds. These debris, how are they formed? Through weathering. Hence, these are the aspects of weathering. So this is with respect to weathering. I'll be covering mass movements and its significance, types of mass movement in the next video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. Okay, thank you.